Good day, class, and welcome. I'm Patty Sandoz, your instructor for this course. Our objectives include introducing me to you, humanizing the language of mathematics, developing and promoting a can-do attitude about the subject of mathematics, developing more in-depth explanations to supplement a textbook, make connections between and among the math concepts and procedures, the basic operations, and their properties. To represent and justify mathematical ideas in multiple ways, which will include pictures, words, graphs, tables, symbols, expressions or equations, and sometimes even history. To help make connections to previously learned skills, concepts, and procedures to current and future skills, concepts, procedures, and applications. So this is me, Patty Sandoz, your instructor for this course. As I said, my goals with this class are listed in the previous slide. But to summarize those goals, I will provide a greater depth of explanation than what is found in a textbook, and I will connect each video to other concepts, procedures, and applications. I will be the bridge between the textbook and you. So this is me on Eclipse Day. Or maybe this is me. For these recordings, I will not go through the examples in each assigned section. I will not repeat what's in your textbook. Rather, my examples will help you analyze to help you determine your own way forward based on your understandings of the operations, the properties, the concepts, and even the order of operations. It's all about figuring out what x is, where it is, in any situation, expression, or equation. So these lessons are not intended to replace your textbook. They are intended to bridge the text for deeper understanding. All the lessons utilize the same format. As much as possible, I created the images, equations, graphs, and important notes ahead of time so that you would not have to, quote-unquote, watch me write them out. In other words, I've tried to compress the time frame while staying true to my goals of providing a greater depth of explanation than what's found in the textbooks. These recordings are made with PowerPoint, and PowerPoint gives the option of also creating the PowerPoint slides as notes. The notes document that I provide for every lesson except for this one has a page showing each PowerPoint slide from the video. The upper half is the view of that slide, and the bottom half is for you to take notes on. I recommend that you print this off prior to watching each video. Then you can work alongside the recording. You can annotate on the slide view in the upper half, and you can also work all the examples that are in each video in the lower half. Consider this an excellent study guide. But first, let's deal with writing conventions for this online medium. I use a variety of symbols to represent multiplication. I will use a raised dot. This is just going to be an ongoing problem. Go back, slide. I will use a raised dot to indicate multiplication. Or I will use parentheses, because when there is something inside the parentheses next to something else such as a letter, it's indicating multiplication. Or I will use an asterisk to show multiplication. So those are the three symbols that I use. I will not use this symbol to show multiplication because that symbol looks like the letter X to me, and so I steer clear of it. I will use a leading 0 in front of a decimal number. So here is the number 1700ths. Now, if your eyes are not very good, you might not have seen that I put a decimal point there. And that's why I use the 0 in front, because then it helps draw the eye to the decimal point. It's called a leading 0. Generally speaking, I cross my 7s so that my 7s look like 7s and not the number 1. That's the European way of making a 1, or the American way of making a 1. But no matter what, my 7s are crossed. Same is true with Z's. I will cross the Z so that it doesn't look like the number 2. So Z as a letter is crossed. Number 2 is not. And when the number 0 stands alone, I record it, generally speaking, with a line segment inside it so as not to get confused with the letter O, as in Sandoz. Now, here's a warning. If you make the symbol with the line going through the circle, that's actually a different symbol in mathematics. It means something else entirely. It's called the empty set symbol or the null set symbol. So the number 0 has a line segment in it, but doesn't go through it. And many calculators will use this symbol for 0. Check it out on a graphing calculator or a good scientific calculator. All right, math mistakes. These recordings are not intended to replace your reading or studying your math textbook. They are intended to bridge the gap between the textbook and you. I make mistakes. In the classroom, it is easier to correct mistakes made by my racing mind. But the online environment is less forgiving. I might say one thing and write something else. Or I might say something but mean something else because my mind is racing ahead. For these recordings, I've written scripts with everything double-checked before pressing the record button to minimize those errors. But if you think you've spotted an error, please let me know so that I can check it out and edit to get the errors corrected. Please know that it is absolutely okay to correct me. Everyone can do math. The process of learning is not easy. There will be fits and starts. There will be speed bumps and potholes. There will be frustration and maybe some tears. And that's okay, as long as you don't quit. Give the lesson a rest. Go do something else. Step back to reread. Not skim, but reread some previous sections. Review some earlier problems to analyze why things work the way they do. Then try the new lesson again. This is sort of a 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards, or even 2 steps backward and 1 step forward. Because when you make mistakes and struggle to understand, you are actually growing your brain. That's right, your brain is plastic. It will grow. It's not plastic, it has plasticity in it. When the brain is challenged, the brain grows the most. So embrace mistakes. And that brings me to effort. Effort is the single most important ingredient for learning mathematics. Everyone can learn math, but it takes being an active learner, not a passive learner. It's okay to say, I don't understand this, as long as you add an important 3-letter word, yet. Remember, effort is the single most important ingredient for learning mathematics. And did you know that there's no such thing as a math gene? Everyone can do math. There's no such thing as a math gene. There's no such thing as a reading gene. Those things are just holdovers from previous generations, but we know much more now about how the brain grows, about how humans learn. So now we know that it's effort that is the single most important ingredient. Most lessons will include a reflection. For the reflection today, I suggest you jot down your plans for studying math. What is your schedule? When will you devote time to your study for this course? How will you handle interruptions? How will you handle frustrations? What will you do when you need to reach out for help? Check all these things out. Make plans ahead of time. And now, let me talk to you about this image that you'll see at the conclusion of each recorded lesson. Its eyes are pi symbols, which represent the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. Its nose is the E symbol for Euler's number, which is the limit of the ratio of 1 plus 1 over n raised to the nth power. The mouth is a parabola. This lovely, smiley face represents the beauty of mathematics, the joy of mathematics, and that everyone can do math. Have a great day. Bye.